You're sitting at home right now, looking at the clock, and suddenly you realize that last year feels like it passed in a single week. The last holiday still feels recent. Your last exam seems like it happened yesterday. Even major events from years ago somehow feel much closer than they should. But when you were a child, summer vacation felt endless. A single week felt long. Even one school day seemed like it would never end. So what changed? Did time itself speed up? Or did something inside your brain change instead? The real answer is much stranger than you think, because your sense of time has very little to do with the hands of a clock. Clocks have measured seconds at exactly the same speed for thousands of years. A minute today is the same minute that existed in ancient Rome, in ancient Egypt, and even when your distant ancestors were living in caves. But your brain was never designed to measure time that way. In fact, your brain doesn't really count time at all. It counts memories. And that discovery helped psychologists understand why children experience time so differently from adults. Imagine that you're 5 years old. Everything around you is new. Your first day at school, your first friend, the first time you see the ocean, the first time you ride a bicycle, the first time you sleep away from home. Almost every week brings an experience you've never had before. Because of that, your brain works at full capacity. In 1962, the Canadian psychologist Donald Hebb proposed an idea that changed our understanding of the mind. Whenever your brain encounters something new, it creates a huge number of new neural connections. In simple terms, new experiences require more work. And more work means more memories. Those memories are what make periods of your life seem longer when you look back on them years later. But what happens as you grow older? You wake up, you go to work or school, you come home, you check your phone, you sleep, then you repeat the same day, again and again, until suddenly an entire year has passed, and you can barely remember what happened last week. Why? Because your brain has seen all of it before. From its perspective, nothing is important enough to save in detail. The neuroscientist David Eagleman, who spent years studying how humans perceive time, explained this idea in a fascinating way. He argues that time doesn't necessarily feel slow or fast while you're experiencing it. The real sensation appears afterward, when you remember it. That means an ordinary day can feel completely normal while you're living it. But years later, it may seem surprisingly long. How? Think about the first time you traveled alone, the first time you entered a new city, the first time you got lost somewhere unfamiliar. Now, compare those moments to an entire week spent following your normal routine. Which memories stand out more? Obviously, the new experiences. And that's exactly how your brain tricks you. When it looks back at the past, it doesn't measure how many days actually passed. It measures how many details were stored. But there's another explanation, and surprisingly, it involves mathematics. More than a century ago, the French philosopher Paul Janet noticed something strange. When you're 5 years old, 1 year represents 20% of your entire life. That's enormous. But when you're 50, that same year represents only 2% of everything you've experienced. The year itself hasn't changed. Its relative size inside your life has. Imagine that your life is a book. In the first few chapters, each new page feels incredibly important. But as the book grows longer, one extra page becomes just a tiny part of the entire story. And because of that, your brain begins to feel as if time is moving faster. But does that mean there's nothing you can do? Are you doomed to watch every year disappear faster than the last? The surprising answer is no. Scientists have found that a few simple changes can slow down your perception of time. One of the most powerful methods is breaking your routine. Researchers at Stanford University found that people who constantly try new activities or learn new skills tend to experience time as richer and longer. Why? Because their brains start working differently again. Every new experience forces the brain to build new maps. Every unfamiliar place creates a unique memory. Every new skill breaks the feeling that every day is simply a copy of the previous one. Think about the last time you did something for the very first time. Maybe you played a new game. Maybe you traveled somewhere. Maybe you started a new job. Maybe you simply took a different road home. Isn't it strange that you remember those moments far more clearly than dozens of ordinary days that came afterward? But the story goes even deeper. Because your perception of time isn't just a problem of memory, it's part of human evolution.